U.S. Army Corporal Philip Ramos is back in the States for 18 days of R&R from his second tour of Iraq. In his 2 tours, Ramos has seen heavy combat, lost fellow soldiers in the war, and trained the Iraqi police. In this interview, he shares some of his experiences from his parents' house in Turlock, California.
What we do is we go out to the Iraqi police stations. We try to help them with their administrations, their investigations, basically their jail, and getting them to create a program of accountability. How many detainees are inside their cell, what are they in for, and keeping that type of record, because there is no record system. They're smarter than we think, but I think they're like playing us. And so we're trying to build that trust. We're still working that trust issue. And some of them are getting it. And then there's just some that we're still questioning. I could almost go into, there was an incident where an IP was shot, he was killed. And rather than the other IPs taking action, they pretty much retreated. And we had to take control of the situation. And then they took the dead IP, they left, and then they basically told the other IPs that we shot them. And so there was confusion. So then it took us a couple days to square that situation up. And so we're still, now it's like that thin ice. So we're trying to rebuild that rapport with them. And just the whole, the language barrier, so we always have to have that interpreter. We're trying to get them, the arms room, keeping records of how things are, which weapons are functioning, which ones are not. If the ones that are not functioning, what are they doing to get them fixed? That kind of stuff, basically like any other police station here in the States would do. And the administration aspect of keeping records of, one, the employment, who's hired, the vehicles and what their status is. We're just having to really give them a structure. We're helping to build a foundation. From my standpoint, or my opinion, it would, I think it's more of a game. We have less attacks, but I think it's more of a ploy. They don't do so many attacks. They think that, or we'll think that we've got the upper hand. We'll draw back the troops and eventually pull out, and then they'll just rise up and just take Iraq over. That's what I strongly believe is going to happen. Some of us probably feel that it's kind of pointless, us being there, because we pretty much know what's going to happen. But that's also because of what we're getting from the people from the United States. Our Congress, everyone fighting just to get us out, and that's all the Democrats want. Pull them out now. And that's definitely not the right answer. For the infantry guys, those soldiers who are doing the raids and stuff, I would say it's getting worse.
It's getting worse.
I mean, they're getting the targets, but now they've got, they're booby-trapping the houses. I don't think the troops is the number of troops there is the real issue. The issue from here is people not wanting soldiers dying. If we have 6 soldiers there, or if we have 250,000 soldiers there, soldiers are still going to die. That's just the nature of the beast. So we could pull troops out and not have so many there, but soldiers are still going to pay the ultimate sacrifice. The unit that we relieved, their tactics for driving on the road where they would drive against traffic on the wrong side of the road. By doing that, they pushed the vehicles to the curb.
Okay.
And so if there was any IEDs there, it would hit the civilian vehicles first.
Okay.
Well, we get out there and there was a few accidents with military vehicles and civilian vehicles, and they decided that we cannot drive against traffic anymore. Once they have pulled us from doing that, we've been hit more often, and the casualties have gone up. Just there's a slight increase. We have to follow their rules now. Rather than using our sirens and having people pull over so we can keep going, we have to basically stick behind the traffic and kind of like hope that they see us and move over. They do want us there. They're seeing results, and a lot of them are starting to get fed up with the insurgency, and a lot of them have basically wanted to become IPs to correct that issue, go after them. And we get a lot of people calling in on our hotlines for tips and giving us intel, and we're getting the bad guys off the streets.
Does intel get better?
I would say yes, and it's coming from the community. They're just done. You know, they're telling us where the IEDs are. They're telling us who's putting them. So definitely. From my standpoint, I don't do a whole lot of interaction with, a lot of the just regular residents of Iraq. We, unless they're working as an IP or whatnot, we're not really close with them. Unless we're doing our joint patrol with the IPs and we're just doing what I call the meet and greet, going out and on the streets and waving to the Iraqi people and letting them know that the IPs are here, and that's our job, is trying to build that trust between the regular Iraqi people with the IPs, letting them know that they could trust them. I would want them to know that I don't want them to act like they understand what we've gone through, because they probably never will. If I talk about not getting enough sleep and having things blown up, I don't want someone to say, "Oh yeah, I feel your pain," because you don't. You don't know the burdens that we're carrying on our shoulders. Don't act like you're happy to see us and then turn around and, when given an opportunity to give up a seat on a plane so a soldier could come home, you don't have any patriotism then to actually get up and relieve yourself so a soldier could come home early. It happened to me and 3 other soldiers.
Where?
From Dallas to here. That situation was, I already knew it was full.
Yeah.
But they put me on standby, and along with 3 other soldiers, or I don't know how that list came up, but at least 4 of us from standby was told we were going to be able to get on the plane. I got on the plane and was sitting in the seat that they gave me a ticket for, and then within like 2 minutes I was told that I had to get off. So as I was walking off the plane, one of the flight attendants offered $300, free dinner, and something else. And they wanted 3 people to get off the plane so the 3 soldiers could come home, and no one took it.
How did you suffer, Dad? Because I know you suffer silently.
I'm a Vietnam vet, so I know kind of what he's going through as far as combat. And I've seen guys die, so I know what he's going through.
You want to take away the burden? What advice do you have for veterans like your son, who've seen what he's seen? What advice do you have?
Well, they have to stay focused. They really got to stay focused, and no matter what, and they can't let issues get to them. They got to just continue to do it, because, like you said, he depends on his team, and they depend on him. And you form this tight family.
The door.
And you are a family.
How many times had you been blown up, or how many times had you faced IEDs or been in a convoy that was bombed? When you re-enlisted, because you'd faced it, hadn't you?
Yes, it was probably 6 IEDs. One time with 2 RPGs hitting the vehicle that I was driving.
2 RPGs hit it?
One hit the vehicle, and then one went underneath and exploded from underneath the vehicle. You learn what looks right and what looks wrong. When I got hit with my vehicle got hit with the RPGs, we were doing a patrol, and we'd went on our route, and we were pretty much done. We were getting ready to head back to the base, and we got a call over there, or we heard over the radio that there was mortars, RPGs hitting 3 like fobs, like cops, what they would call them,
But they were hitting a forward operating base that was really for the police.
Yes, one was an IP station. One was the what we called the Blue Dome, which is where the governor of Diyala worked out of, and then the CMOC building. And I don't know what that stands for, but they were all being attacked, and so we were going back to help reinforce them if they needed it. So we were taking,
You got ambushed.
and we were taking a route that we just was on, and we noticed all the shops were closing, all the people were leaving, and we're like, okay, something's not right, something's going to happen. We made a left-hand turn, and we're seeing people running this way as we're going this way, and we're like, yeah, well, this is not good. We tried to get on the radio to let everyone else know, hey, something's up. We couldn't get a hold of anybody because everyone, the CMOC was on the radio reporting their stuff in, the Blue Dome was reporting their stuff in, IP stations, they were reporting their stuff in. Pretty much overloaded it and killed the system, so comms went down. We started to make a right-hand turn, and that's when we got hit. The explosion, and we were pretty much, Sergeant Pointer was my team leader. He's telling me to go, and I couldn't go for a while, and I was like, I can't go. And then his pants were on fire from the blast, and so he's scooting out of the seat. Water bottles that were in the vehicle melted and basically put it out. And then somehow I got control.
Because the water bottles melted, it put out the fire inside the vehicle.
Well, on him.
On him. Okay.
And then I pretty much was able to go again, and I basically bled the fuel line out and got out of the kill zone. And no one was injured.